Okay, I just want to welcome everybody to the Energy, Environment, and Land Use Committee on this day, February 17th, 5 o'clock. If we could just limit those side conversations for a moment. Mr. Spadoni, I'm going to send you to the corner, all right? After class, you're going to have to clap the chalk erasers. Sit down. All right, is there any courtesy of the floor? No, okay. Well, then we're going to go right on to the presentation from I-80 Delaware Water Gap Coalition.
Okay, thank you. Tara Mezzanotte, Knowlton Township. Thank you for having us back. Lori Chesla, Warren County Commissioner, is with us here today also. She's pretty much here for moral support and to say a few words. She'll probably wind up learning a little more as we do this. Regarding last month, there were some questions that I wanted to hit first, if I may, that came up last month, and somebody, forgive me, I don't know everybody's names. So the visual impact assessment, I think it was Mr. Galfredo. Yes. You asked to see the visual impact assessment or something visual for the 2011 version and the 2013 version. So I sent an email out, the visual impact, did you get that? Okay, and I don't mean that to be challenging, because I want to make sure that's also in the record that it was sent out. So the visual impact assessment that I sent out was for the 2017 version of the 2013 version. And the reason I say that is that did not exist. There was no visual presentation of the original plan from 2011. So the study that was done, the concept development study for the 2011, this project called the 2011 one, showed what was going to be in the $5 million 9-month project. So you could see what it was going to be. And I am saying again, and I'll say it again and again, there was no other study done before the 2013 preliminary engineering contract was written. So there's more studies that have been done since writing that contract, but there's no study to support what was put into the contract. And that is part of the investigation with the Office of Inspector General. Because you're right, having seen things like this, of course there has to be studies. And I'm gonna jump right over to traffic on that one also while I'm talking about the studies. So your other question was, well, there had to be a traffic study. Of course there has to be a traffic study. In the concept development report, which was done in 2011, finished, signed off by Federal Highway, there were over 60 pages of data and analysis and raw material that they used to come up with the traffic plan for that project, as presented in the concept development report, to move on to the preliminary engineering phase. It was completely ignored. No traffic study was done going into the 2013 preliminary engineering phase. It doesn't exist. So, do you have questions about that?
No, I'm just looking through to see what I got here.
Yeah. Because you're right. I mean, and I was really happy that you asked these kind of questions, because that's exactly the right question to ask. How can you come up with a project that is this without some studies that support its justification, its feasibility, its constructability, and a traffic plan? So, specifically on that, if I may, what I did is, Zach Fowler, who's the senior counsel for U.S. Congresswoman Susan Wild, he participated in a BiState Summit the summer of 2020. So we pushed and asked enough questions to, which really forced the DOT to come up with a big powwow. State senators, Congress people, people of importance. Monroe County was there, invited. Warren County was there, invited. Northampton was not there. You were not invited because they missed you on the list of stakeholders. So because we've shared so much information with Congresswoman Wild's office, and she was so interested, Zach Fowler showed up, and here's what he heard. Here's what he writes. My question is twofold. I'm going to go to the second part of it. I was wondering if any traffic impact studies in Pennsylvania were done, and by whom? Because that's the core question you're asking. So he asked that question, and the answer would be the traffic study will be provided to the summit attendees as requested. So by the time they got around to sending out a traffic study, they produced one now we're in 2020. So they then produced one in 2020, a thing called a traffic study. And the details of it are really not what is important here, but they finally did produce one. It did not have raw data. It was missing a lot of pieces. I mean, it's questionable at best. But the point is, they didn't show what was in the 2011 concept development phase. He was asking what studies, if any, had been done. So they didn't include that. So I've been working with, it's been nice to have Senator Booker's office has been helpful with getting information. I didn't feel right printing this out for you because I don't want to share those types of emails. But this came back. I reached out echoing requests for previous traffic studies done. This is what I got back. The only previously completed traffic study, this is from DOT to a sitting U.S. Senator's office. The only previously completed traffic study was the traffic analysis included in the CD report. That's the 2011 concept development report I was referencing. The CD report is currently on the project website, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. I mean, there's more information supporting that, but there is none. As a result, Dewberry is in the process of completing our traffic analysis based upon updated traffic data and advanced construction staging, blah, blah, blah. So it's extreme to not have a traffic study to support their assertions, which is part of how we got here. On record, no traffic impact to Pennsylvania. Confident, unimpeded traffic flow. And part of the complaint that we've submitted to DOT is how can they keep saying what they want, when they want, to whom they want, but they can't support their claims with studies and data. It doesn't exist. So does that satisfy that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you for it was a good question. I'm happy to be able to put it out there.
Appreciate it.
So I just want to add two things to that.
Please.
If you recognize the actual resolution that I'm hoping we're going to send up to council tonight is in the back of your packet for council. So two things that I think are really important. The fact that we are stakeholders in this and we haven't been invited or informed of these things are a reason to pass this resolution. Because what we want to do is we want to be able to operate on behalf of our municipalities that have already entered into an agreement as Northampton County. Two, what they're asking for is the Department of Transportation to initiate a problem statement to study the safety, mobility, and congestion issues on I-80 and Exit 4 to the Delaware, Exit 4 Columbia Portland, to the Delaware Water Gap. That is essentially what we're asking for. And then if you look at the whereases, I mean, then therefore be it resolved statements. We cut that down to just asking for that initial, or not even asking for it, but supporting the ask for that problem statement. And also encouraging our own municipalities, federal, state elected representatives, organizations, and agencies to get involved. So I think last time Tara was here, we had a very elaborate resolution that she put together, which was very well written, but it was a lot of information to take in. What we've done is we've very much simplified it to make the ask very definite. This is what we want to support. This is why we want to support it, and that's it. So I hope that distills things down
Yeah.
a lot better.
I cut it down based on the feedback from that meeting. You know, I heard be succinct, I heard, I think it was Mr. Lott, we don't need a big hammer. Was that you?
That might have been,
Oh, maybe it was Mr. Heckman. So we did. We narrowed it down. It's still asking for everything that was in the first one, but it took out a lot of the words and made it easier.
I think the first one gave like a whole history of the whole entire thing, and that's cumbersome, and we realize that. But here, this is a definite ask and definite support. Now, the mayor, Adele
Yes.
Starr, could not be here today because there was,
Yeah, her mother passed.
Yeah.
She had been in hospice, so
Yeah.
she's with her family.
but she did provide all the supporting information in an email, and I think she made copies of that and gave that out. Now, I'm not quite sure everybody read that, and that's okay. But I think the fact that New Jersey is coming here, and last time we heard from different people in the municipalities, they're coming here too. I just think that lends more to the notion that we should support our communities and engage in this, and just recognize that we are stakeholders in this, and we would like to be informed of what's going on. It's not a huge thing. We're not stopping a pipeline here, you know? We're really just,
I think it was you
stakeholders.
also, like, is this your business? Is this your jurisdiction?
Well, listen, I don't think anybody was really in opposition to any
Yeah.
of this last meeting. I think you've spent a lot of time on this, and you are much more informed than you could explain to us during these short committee meetings. I'm definitely my wheelhouse. Still don't know nearly enough about this to say, you know, why they're doing it. Seems like everything you're explaining, it's overkill. But I don't want to see anything to make the Delaware Water Gap look ugly. And if our boroughs and municipalities are coming to us saying, hey, we are 100% supporting what they're trying to do, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be support. I just don't know what our support, when you have Senator Booker, Pennsylvania state representatives and senators, U.S. congresswomen, what we're going to do. But I think, you know, what you're asking for and what this resolution states, we're not offering anything that we're not at liberty to give you, and it's our verbal support. And I don't think anybody here would be opposing that. I'm not opposing that, at least.
No, I felt that, but I thought, I appreciated the question, though. You should ask the question, I would think, you know, why would you support something like this, even though your towns are asking and your residents are asking? But I thought it's also important for you to understand that environmental issues, which is why we brought it to this committee meeting, is not necessarily always just birds, bees, water, trees. You know, many people think that's the environment and that's the issue. We're killing ourselves to find a voice as residents, because we're the environment. The impact to the traffic impact is an environmental issue. The lifestyle impact of all of this is an environmental issue. And there's real reasons why you could have a loud voice, you could develop an opinion, but we don't need to be here asking you to have an opinion about all the other stuff that we're way far ahead on that. But I appreciated the questions. I did send out an email. As I said, I wanted to have it on record. I sent an email out referencing that. I wanted to just hit on a few points so that it's in the record. That everybody's been getting these, like the email that I sent to you guys also went out to our sitting senators, our congresspeople, our state and federal reps on both sides of the river. Everything I've done has been open forum, and it's been CCing them, so they all know. We have tried very hard to keep the facts out in the open with everything. That's why I was really happy that you asked the detailed question. I wasn't happy we didn't have time last time, but it was what it was. It was just necessary to be that way. You had asked another really good question, though, and that was, what is our solution? You know, how do you, you're telling them they can't do their solution. What is the solution? You're hearing people say, straighten the S-curve. You know, Senator Scavella will say, cantilever it out. His favorite saying is, you know, cantilever it. And I keep trying to say to everybody, stop all that talk. We want the engineers to come up with the solutions. We clearly have a problem, and requesting this study would take a look at all the safety issues, including the concern for rockfall in the gap. You were right to note there were rocks on that barrier. There's reason to be concerned, but there's reason that maybe this thing is overkill. But it's not about, there's actually a tunnel on paper under Mincy. There's a tunnel under Tammany on paper. There's a bridge, a secondary bridge. There's an overpass that goes north. There's conceptually a lot of possibilities that were immediately written off because of the huge cost and environmental concerns. Well, we're saying, you know, don't immediately write anything off. Address the real issues, which is the big issues that have been identified, not just the rockfall concern for this pet project for whatever reason we don't understand yet. But to look at all of it. So we're not about straighten the S-curve. We're not about put up another bridge. We're about having our rights to have this thing studied appropriately. So that's when I say, I think maybe it was Mr. Lott or Mr. Heckman, you guys became one last month.
I don't know how, but like I did.
Somebody said, I forgot what I was gonna say on that. So anyway, lost my train of thought there, but yeah, that's it.
The hammer.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Don't need a hammer.
So anyway, yeah, we're not about, we have no idea what the solution is. We are certain we have a problem. We've been living with it, suffering with it, and it was just too much to have the DOT come to town saying, we're gonna make it worse, really. So also in the email, was, the question came up. We're not sure we can tell the DOT or anybody what to do. We're not asking anybody to do it. We're not telling anybody to do anything. We're just asking, you guys are supporting Warren County's ask. They have the seat at the table. They can, because if you pass this, Commissioner Chesler will confirm this, it just gives them and us that much more to work with. It kind of does say, you would have liked to have been involved. You're expressing that by putting it on there. So put that out there. You had also, somebody had asked, said, what is the specific wording to be most helpful? You know, this resolution, we can call it perfect. It's exactly what we would need. I did send to everybody the every New Jersey and Pennsylvania legislative letter. So you could see all the various words. If they, you had mentioned, well, if they can't get it done, you know, what good is this going to be? This is like little steps. This is a very complicated situation. So Senator Casey, for example, wasn't asking for a traffic study. He was noting the hypocrisy of creating having a safety project and creating safety issues, the possibility of that with the project. So he was saying it deserves more scrutiny. You know, that was golden. You know, he couldn't have said it any better, but that also supports all of this. So to figure out how to break this apart and get the study we need, we're not really sure yet. You know, we're just hitting it from every angle. So having your support helps with that. And I sent you the link to the project website, but that gets back to this it's just propaganda. It's them saying what they want, when they want, how they want. The information on there is not always supported with information that we can find anyway. I sent a second email out this week. Mr. Giovanni had asked, do I call you people council members or commissioners? Okay, all right.
The Honorable Mr. Giovanni.
The Honorable Mr. Giovanni had asked for that concept development report, so I did send that out. I just want to have that in the record that I did. And I noted that there were, where the issues were, that there's a specific preliminary plan alternative, there's a specific preliminary engineering scope of work, and there was a specific preliminary engineering public involvement plan in that report that did not transfer into the contract, which are the issues that we're fighting on this. I did send you the contract as well. And that's about it on that. The alternatives. Did you ask about alternatives? Or was that, did I just plop that in with visual impact?
You basically said you're not entirely sure of what the solution is, but you don't think that this is the correct solution. You'd like to slow it down, to scrutinize the process, in hopes of a better solution coming out, which.
An appropriate solution. Yeah, we're about a reasonable solution. This project.
Idea of what you're dealing with, and I get all that. I think that is pragmatic. I think that's a good idea. I just don't want this to, when we say we offer our support, I think it's more of an idea. I don't want to be tying Northampton County resource. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
understand
I do.
just
I
don't want it to
respect
come
it.
across the wrong way, but I think you guys are fighting the good fight, and God bless you.
Mr. Giovanni?
I'm just saying.
No further questions?
I looked at all the stuff you gave me, all the material, the 312 pages.
It was a lot.
Every one of them.
It was really interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah,
did you
I
print
found
all
some
that?
interesting things in it, yes, I did. And there was a lot of diagrams, photographs, and my biggest concerns are going to be the traffic, I went to Union, New Jersey this weekend, and I-78 only had a little stretch of construction. And it was like 12:30 in the afternoon. I'm going down eastbound. The westbound lane must have been backed up for 4 or 5 miles.
Yep.
And I was just hoping when I come back at 7:30 it was all gone, which it was. But I mean, it was a nightmare from
Yep.
what I've seen. And my concern is going to be a traffic for all the entrances to PA.
Yep.
It's going to be a mess. And they need to come up with an idea on how they're going to control that.
Thank you. Yeah, and wouldn't it be nice to have a 312-page, 3-year study of the real situation here?
Yeah, that was done in
it's missing.
2011. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's already 10 years old.
Yeah. So thank you. Commissioner Chesley, I think you wanted to say a few things?
Yeah, I did want to hear from Commissioner Chesley. How do you spell your last name?
CIESLA.
Ciesla. Okay.
Yeah, Lori Tesla, Commissioner over in Warren County. I just wanted to thank you for your support, and I think your resolution hits the nail on the head. That's really what the support that we're looking for, and we've been trying to, like, the NJDOT and the federal government, they have their projects, right? And we understand that, but at the same time, it's our job, and it's the job of the communities, and it's on the other side of the river, it's your job to make sure that our residents are safe, and that the problems that we have are being addressed, because we all know that there's limited funding for all of these road projects. And over in Warren County, we have a lot of issues, and they're going to get worse between the warehouses going up on our side and the warehouses going up on your side. To have this project go for 5 years, it's going to cause a lot of problems. It definitely is. And like you said, 78 is, and that's that end. And if you go up on 80, and that's no better. So just by you guys asking to look at the S-curve too is something they should be doing, because if we're gonna do a project up there for 5 years, we should try to, at the end of it, make sure that we've made it a little better, besides the rocks that don't really fall. But, as far as the actual traffic conditions, because they are gonna get increasingly worse.
Well, I think one of the important things that you brought up last time was the fact that when they do deviate traffic, it's going to come down to 78 and 33. That's
Yes.
directly going to impact the Lehigh Valley. I mean, I don't know. I came here today, and there were still trucks, How, this is an ongoing issue, I think, in the Lehigh Valley that we have to address with the traffic we have, the traffic that's coming, any traffic that's diverted from another place.
Right.
Because we need the infrastructure in place first to be able to handle all of that. Because everybody has to, the community has to be able to come and go.
Right,
To their
exactly.
jobs, to visit family, to do their normal tasks that they have. And I believe that it is important to maintain safety and to make sure that we do this in a very measured way so that we can maintain that safety there. So,
All of us that live in this area know, and if something does happen on Interstate 80, it does affect us all the way down here, because there are very limited roads as alternatives. So, I worked in Somerset County in New Jersey for years, and there were times if there was a bad accident, I took 80 and came down along the river because I wanted to get home. And that's unfortunate. We just don't have as many roads as we do in East Jersey or down by Philadelphia. They just don't exist. So again, we really appreciate your support. And this resolution is just like the one of the puzzle pieces of everybody, that the support that we need. So they'll at least look at it.
and I'm a firm believer in cumulative support, because
Yes.
I think sometimes it's an all-hands-on-deck issue. Like, the more support you get, the more that you rally, the more voices involved, the more important the issue becomes. And also, everybody becomes a stakeholder then. I think that's what we have to remember, that we are stakeholders in this, and we do want to be informed about what's going on, and we want to be included. And so if there is a solution to be had, I think we want to hear about it. We want to be able to weigh in on it.
Right, I agree. Because like you said, with the diversion, that directly affects you. And to not be, brought into the fold it's not proper. You guys should be.
Okay. Any questions? Further questions?
Our solicitor, Mr. He's asking about
You're
another.
a Warren County Commissioner.
Yes.
Could you give us an update on Jandal's project, which is immediately across the river from the Martin Street Power Plant?
Which has absolutely nothing to do with the motion that we would like to put forward, but we will entertain
understand that, but you're
that
talking
thought
about-
from Mrs.
talking about traffic.
Sidoni, who's being an awesome student today. Thanks so much.
Well, you're talking about traffic.
Right,
This
right.
could be, as just from news reports, it's millions of square feet.
Yes. And right now, they're still going through the process. So over in New Jersey, it's a little different. We have the home rule. So the municipality basically sets the precedent for the zoning and all these applications. And then the county, we just deal with roadway issues and stormwater. Unfortunately, not only is this going to be built on a county road, it's literally like a few feet away from our county administration building. So we will be, once it gets through the White Township procedures, it will come to the county for that assessment. Unfortunately, too, we can only expect them to pay their fair share assessment of the immediate traffic issues. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get, again, the state and other counties to realize that something like that is life-altering. Because if you've driven on 519, we have houses that are built up to the road. For us to widen that road, it is a huge project, and we're trying to get our state legislators to come in and actually get some kind of regional control over that, so one town can't build some mammoth building that's going to annihilate traffic in all the towns around it. Because that's what happens, because there is no, White Township would get funding possibly of their fair share from the builder. The county will get some because it is on the county road, but the surrounding towns aren't going to,
So that's why you need regional planning.
Yes, yeah, and that's what we're trying to push for. Even if there can be like regional expectations and goals that need to be met when something this big is going to impact traffic, because it's about, I think, 12 miles in either direction from an interstate highway.
Yeah, I would think that you would want to have a regional plan for that, because if you have something that's so big in one area, you can't funnel it into
Right.
another area and expect it to be successful.
Right. And because of the way New Jersey is set up and how we do things, we don't have that ability right now.
Right.
And the surrounding townships don't even have the ability really to have too much of a say unless they can, come to an agreement with the township that would have the building. So it is a very precarious situation. They're still going through this. I think it's going to take, we might expect some type of approval this year, but then I think the lawsuits are immediately going to be filed by various groups, maybe other communities. So I do expect this to be held up for a while.
My question was just limited to do you have an idea of the number of trucks?
Oh, the number of trucks. Oh, well. I'm trying to think. They are quite a lot, anywhere from like 200 to 1,000 a day.
No, way more.
Way more?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they come up to Knowlton. They come up to, they wind up, I'll share the mic with you.
Okay.
They're gonna come up to exit 4. So by you guys passing this resolution, it actually helps
That issue is.
that as well. I mean, if we get a traffic study, we can get it all incorporated into one big study. When we would do this, hopefully have a seat at the table for the scoping of some kind of study like this.
Yeah. They'll be going in both directions too. They'll be coming, because of where that's located, the traffic is either gonna go up to Route 80 or it's gonna come down to 78. And it's going to affect every single town because we just have a county road. We have one county road that goes along there. So we don't have any auxiliary roads that they can really travel down. And then they're just piling into the already existing warehouses that are being built in South Warren. So yeah, it'll definitely have an impact. Now, we don't expect it, like I said, it's going to be an arduous project going forward because we definitely know people are going to file lawsuits, so, which usually slows things down a little bit, but it does need to be included to look at this. And again, that's another issue that we have on the Jersey side is, the regulations state one thing. We do try to make sure, a lot of applicants will look at, projects that might be slated to come through. But if something's not built yet, they really don't have to include it.
But to be clear, that is not what we're voting on today, okay?
I'm just trying to give you fodder for the traffic study.
I understand.
Oh, yeah, we definitely need it, yeah.
We were trying to narrow this, not expand it, but I see your point, and thank you very much.
No, I think, it goes on both sides of the river.
Yes.
We can't ignore it. Where are those trucks going?
Sure, we're two different sides of the same coin.
Right, exactly. They're going to Newark. That's where they're coming to. And they're going to spread out from there and they're going to come in and they're going out to the rest of the country, which unfortunately goes through New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
Great, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I hope that you will stay and do the public comment.
I am. Yes, for the next meeting.
Yes.
Yes, and
For
Representative.
courtesy of the rest of the council who could not be here today.
Yes, and Representative Emmerich, Bob Kilbanks is going to be present with a comment
Okay.
at the next meeting
Okay.
for the vote, but Senator Scavello is not able to be with us, but he once again has given me complete permission to say he's completely in support of this.
Did he give you a statement to say?
No,
No? you
I didn't
can't
ask
afford
for
it?
such a statement. I could have, but no,
It's okay.
silly me.
We just have to take your word for it.
You can take my word for it. The one I didn't mention last meeting, we didn't have time. Part of the reason we're not here asking beyond the traffic study is Congressman Gottheimer did get an amendment attached to the House of Representatives budget for 2022, the federal budget has an amendment that defunds the I-80 Rockfall project. It made it through committee, and it made it through the final version. He tried last summer, meaning a year ago, and it didn't make it through. That's how upset he is with this project after his thorough review. We're waiting right now for the US Senate to pass their version of the we're in 2022, but they keep pushing it along because we have a lot of other federal issues right now that everybody's dealing with. So where it stands right now is the Senate has to pass their version of the 2022 budget, and then Congress's version and the Senate's version gets reconciled, and we're hoping that this amendment will make it through to the final budget and get signed by President Biden. And if that happens, game over for the project.
Yeah, but that's not a done deal.
No, nothing's a done deal.
Yes.
So I just wanted to put that out there. And so until, if that happens, we're not talking anymore about the Rockfall project. We're still left with the dangerous S-curve situation that does need to be
Which is
addressed.
why we still need the traffic
Study, yes.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna
Let's just
let you
circle
do
back
your
around.
thing.
I know, I just want to keep it simple, and I'm really trying to, it's odd when I'm the one who has to keep somebody on task. I'm just saying.
So there you have it. Thank you very much for your
No,
consideration.
thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Can I get a motion to move this up? Oh, Mr. Nelson?
I'm Ed Nelson, I'm the manager for Upper Mount Bethel Township, and so that I'm not confused, the last meeting that I attended, we kind of collaborated the rock wall project along with the River Point Logistics project with the traffic.
We didn't.
Does this resolution include those provisions?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, okay, well, I haven't seen it, so
Okay.
I didn't know. And I'm not a real complicated person, and I would have to think to resolve some or most of the issues that we have with the S-curve, if we have $200 million to spend to do construction and rearrange the I-80 going through there, if we reinvested that into our law enforcement and actually started to assume control of not only that highway, but all the highways, I'm sure that the safety outcomes would change substantially over a period of time. But, and that would not create any traffic change, would not impact anybody on any bridges or any residents directly. So, that's it.
Thank you. What? I'm looking for a motion. Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody who came today. I appreciate you coming here and bringing this issue to us. We have nothing else on the agenda today. So can I get a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Motion.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right.
Your support. I had Kern, when he was director, signed the letter.
Westfield?
Yeah, I know. So, we
Westfield?
don't know so are you working with that?